typically after people utilize our services for 30 days, they'll see a 20% jump in engagement. So we're really excited about that. And I'm going to share some of our strategies with you about that today. So, the executive storyteller, this is what you signed up for. How to master communication that inspires and aligns. Like I said, this is what I studied. This is something I'm very passionate about. So passionate, I wanted to understand the inner workings of communication. So, what is happening physiologically for people as communication is happening? We Humans have been in existence for thousands of years. Before we even had the written word and language, we were able to communicate with body language, with symbols, and that still happens today. Most human communication is not written, it's felt, it's experienced, it's sensed. And this is the foundation for what we'll talk about today. If you are looking to inspire your team, align your team with an initiative, influence in some way, hopefully positive. That's my goal. So communication can go either ways. It's really an important tool. And in the wrong hands, we can see some damage done. So hope you have the right hands. We hope that you are good and have positive intentions. So the keys I'm going to share with you today, we want you to use it for the greater good. That's my hope that you will. So we want you to be able to communicate in a way to inspire and align with your teams and the people that you influence at work. So here we go. We're going to talk about why storytelling matters. There's so many different kinds of communication. There's directive communication, there's coaching style of communication, and then there's storytelling. So we want to talk about why storytelling matters. And I'm going to share a framework with you. Let me know once we get into it if you're familiar with it or have used it or experienced it. If so, I want to hear your tips on how to use it more effectively and improve and develop your storytelling and your communication. If not, it's new. We want you to have time to practice it today. So we're going to do breakouts. So get ready to come off the mic. If you feel comfortable, come off video or come onto the video so we can see you. But if not, at least come off the mic so we can have dialogue and practice and take action with this framework because practice does make better. If not perfect, it definitely makes you better. So we want you to have the opportunity to do that today. So you can leave here today with a story to tell. You can refine and tweak it over time. This is the end of the year, so you'll have time. If it's time to wind down for you, take that wind down time to refine your communication skills, to refine the stories that you want to tell in 2026. But it all starts today with what we'll do in the breakouts. And then we'll wrap up. We'll talk about what's next for the Executive Edge. You can meet us here, same time, same place, every 2 months. So we have a great treat coming up for you in February. So, spoiler, I'm going to let you know what that is towards the end of our time together today, but just know that that's to come with our wrap up. So that's what we're going to be here for today. I have a question in the chat. What do you have in mind for this conversation? Is there a certain goal that you want to meet when it comes to storytelling, your communication? What's top of mind for you, Tom and Gregory? What's important to you to get out of today's call? Just let me know. And I'm going to keep going.
Well, I was going to say, well, I know for me, because I'm always trying to perfect the storytelling because I am, believe it or not, I am really an introvert at heart.
What?
I'm so introverted that is not even funny.
Oh my, no, I'm literally shocked.
I am, I have to work to be extroverted. I have to work hard to be extroverted. I
Oh
really
my goodness.
do. And so, like, after I do presentations and things like that, I am tired. Like, I've been working outside on a railroad, like, literally.
What?
I am done. I can't do anything else because it takes a lot of energy for me. But I have been like ever since I've heard and I've experienced it with certain speakers, the ability to tell great stories. I really want to improve upon intertwining those into my sessions because I often find myself in a lot of opportunities like this where I'm doing Zoom presentations or on a stage, talking to people, and I really want them to be like, man, they can't take their eyes off me. And I see myself improving, but I just really want to master that, like really have people locked in to what I'm
Yes.
saying and they've bought into it. So that's my goal.
Oh, I just felt that. Yes, yes. Thank you so much for sharing it. I want that for you too. When you get on the stage, having people locked in and bought into what you're saying. Definitely using these frameworks and having some of this in mind. I'm looking forward to our next conversation because
Yeah,
we talk everybody, to
that's
see how
right.
it's going for you when you put these practices into play. Thank you
We
so
have we have a couple of comments in the comments. So Tom said bringing teams together during change and also using storytelling effectively. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And I'm telling you that there's a lot of change going on right now,
Yes,
in organizations, and so yes, you really
yes.
need to effectively tell the story so that people are bought in. I love that, Tom.
Too. Thank you. And this is an Easter egg, Tom. You're literally, I'm up to bat. Like you'll see, we're talking specifically about, I'm going to mention something about change when it comes to storytelling. So I'm hoping these techniques will help you do that effectively. And it's so important. Absolutely.
And then Gregory said, I'm just looking to learn. I am the same way, Rhonda. I'm a natural introvert. That's where I feel comfortable.
Yeah. I'm so
Kudos. Shout
glad you
out to
made a
the
safe
introvert.
space for the introverts today. Welcome.
From
You are
Gregory. You're not alone.
You're not alone. Listen, I'm a married to an introvert. I feel like I'm in a family of introverts. I will call myself an ambivert because I do get energy from time alone, but also I love people. And I like, sometimes I feel like I'm coming through the screen, just even virtually, I'm picking up energy and feel really energized and excited. This is pretty much me all the time. So I do consider myself a more of another. Listen, I'm so once again, typically I'm around good people. So because Tom said same here, I'm an introvert. So yes, these practices work for both introverts and extroverts alike. They go across the vert scale. Okay. So good. Thank you all so much for already sharing so much about yourselves. That really means a lot to me. So I don't know if you can already tell, but I like dialogue. I am a two-way communication individual. It's very important to me. It's something I learned in my degree of strategic communication. The goal is to make it two-way and not just one way. So I'm curious, why does storytelling matter? Just when you think about storytelling and some of the best storytellers out there, why do you think it's even important to be a good storyteller or to have the skill of storytelling? Why does it matter to you, or why does it matter specifically at work? Any thoughts or ideas about that?
I'll go. And they can
Yes.
put stuff in the chat if they can't speak. And I think Keisha
Hey,
had
good to see
for
you.
join. Keisha,
Welcome.
to you. But I really do think, I don't know, like I said, since the pandemic, it's like more important, now to really be able to connect the story to the mission and vision and values, and to really try to keep people committed to the mission, vision, and values of organizations, because we need the people to help us achieve our goals. And so, like, I don't know. I feel like the companies who aren't doing well at storytelling, they're losing the people, you know.
So
So,
that's right. Oh, Kasha says it's pronounced Kasha. Thank you. No problem.
Tasha, thank you. I love that.
We're glad
Beautiful
you're
name.
here. It's a beautiful name. Absolutely. Yes, Rhonda, agreed. Connection, which is huge. I feel like that is my purpose in life, connection. I know that I'm on purpose when I feel like I'm experiencing a sense of connection. It's so important, extremely important in the workplace. Connection leads to commitment. Like I said, our tools lead to people committing to being at the organization. They specifically help retention rates and engagement. So being engaged at work, being committed to the mission, like you said, so that we can collaborate is so important. We cannot do this alone. We do not live in silos. We have to collaborate to have effective results at work. So absolutely, storytelling is a great tool to have just that happen.
And Gregory said, I think the details matter and frame the listener's commitment to any purpose.
Oh, yes.
Bottom
Oh, so
line.
good.
Spot.
Yes. What do they do now? I don't even know what they do.
Thing. I gotta get
So
better at
good.
it. I'm so
Yeah,
old.
I do too. I don't know what figure to use.
Yeah,
I'm
me
trying,
either.
y'all. Agreed. The details do matter. It makes me think about data storytelling. So I spent over, like I said, 2 decades in corporate in tech spaces, mostly tech spaces, and working specifically for a large data company. And so being able to not only analyze, collect and analyze data, but what's the story? Why should I care?
Yeah.
What are we going to do with it? Why does that matter exactly here? So yes, that is so important. So glad to hear you all share your insights on why storytelling matters.
And we
And
got one more. Oh, we got one
yes,
more
go ahead.
insight.
Yes,
It's Tom said it reminds people where we've been, how we've gotten there, and where we're going.
I love it. That
Love
actually
that.
is a three-part model for storytelling.
I
The
love that.
past, present, future
Yes.
is I love a three-step anything. Neuroscience shows that we have a very distracted attention span. So if you can put things in threes, it's a good thing. So that's why I try to keep things down to three. So here I was only going to give you one framework. There's two. So past, present, future is actually a storytelling framework. So absolutely, Tom. And you want to do that. You want to remind people when we're reminding people, we're going into the part of our brain, the memory part, which is right next to our emotional center. So as you are stirring up memories, either good or bad, you're also stirring up emotions in people. And that's what helps people lock in, like what Rhonda was saying. You want them to lock in and go on the journey with you. And so that's so wonderful. Yes, and so some stats here, I'll share them. Stories, people remember them 22 times more than when you just share a stat. So there's a stat for you. I was like, that's the only stat I'm going to share because it's not very memorable, apparently, science says. But just keep in mind that, like I said, there are different types of communication. There are different ways that we share information and data. Make storytelling one of those ways because it makes it more memorable than when you're just going through your PowerPoint slide sharing a lot of data. Okay, so how do you make it into a story? One thing that I really love that I found out about storytelling is that it activates our whole brain. So I've already mentioned a few parts, your memory centers, your emotional centers. Typically, when we're just talking, when we're just having a back and forth conversation, the parts of our brain related to language that which typically are on the left side of our brain are activated. But when you start telling stories, the right side, the sensory parts of our brain start getting activated. The back of our brain, the cerebellum that gets us to move and act, becomes activated as well. So it's a whole brain experience. And as a leader, as a leadership coach and consultant, that's what I'm going for. When I go into an organization, I'm looking for ways and practices that leaders learn that are whole brain activating experiences. That's the goal. So we don't want to just activate one portion of the brain. We want to have a holistic experience. Then also something really cool, I'll just share this too about storytelling. There is something called narrative transportation. Narrative transportation. When we are telling a good story or watching or listening to a good story, our brains go into an altered state of consciousness where that person telling the story can take us anywhere. We suspend our disbelief. It's a very influential time. Our brains are, they call it neuroplasticity. They're very shapeable and moldable. So storytelling actually helps you mold people's minds, their thinking, their brains. It's so important to use this as a tool and to know your audience. That's important. This is from my marketing hat and my strategic communication hat. I want to tell a story that's going to land with the audience. What's important to them? I want to keep that in mind. Yes, I have a goal. I have a mission that's important to me, or as a company leader, founder, my mission, I want to see the results happen. I want it to come to life, come to play. But like you said, we want it to be collaborative. We need people to get there. So, how can I tap into what matters to them? Storytelling is a way to do that because we want them to influence and, like I said, connect. That's one of the words that we've talked about that's so important. So that's why storytelling matters to me, and hopefully why you think it ties into why you think storytelling matters to you. So today, like I said, this is going to be interactive. We are going to have breakouts. So with the breakouts, this is our first one. We want you to go into the room, and it could just be the breakout just with Tom, Gregory, and Kasha. Um, and we want you all to just introduce yourselves to each other and begin to think about a success, a challenge, or a moment of influence that you had this year? Or maybe even think of a goal that you have for 2026. Make it work related if you want. That will be helpful, because that's what this, I'm trying to help people at work be better storytellers. So think about a work success, a work challenge that you either overcame or are trying to overcome, or a goal that you have in mind for 2026. Think of that, write it down. Think about who your audience is. Be really clear about who your audience is. Are they members of your team? Are they internal stakeholders? Maybe a cross-functional representative? Maybe you're trying to communicate something to the marketplace, but think about who your audience is and how you want them to feel. That's important. And when I say feel, I mean sensory things. Do you want them to be inspired? Do you want them to be motivated? Do you want them to have some righteous indignation? Do you want them to possibly be kind of fired up about something? Identify those three things. Okay. So we'll take some time in the breakout to do that, and we'll come back from the breakout and talk about it. Okay. What, who wants to share what you talked about in the breakout?
It was good.
Not
We each have a couple things to say about a challenge, about success. Yeah, some of the different parts of influence people to head in the right direction, and some of the challenges along with that.
Excellent. What kind of emotions did you identify? Did you all get to that at all? Like the kind of emotion you want people to experience when you share your story about that challenge? Do you get to that part?
Not too much. Yeah, just kind of some of the nuance of trying to bring people on board when they may be a little bit reluctant to, or things like
Uh,
that.
yes, yes. That's great to identify that feeling that they're coming in with, that sense of reluctance. And so, in an ideal world, what would you rather them be when they're coming in with reluctance? What would we prefer them to be? Is there a way that you would describe that?
I mentioned that open-mindedness.
Yes, good.
I'm not sure if you remember, Keyshawn, but I was on a previous one with you
I
all,
do.
and
Yes.
we talked about how I was labeled as a bully, a leader that was a bully
Oh,
by,
wow.
pushing people to just do what I wanted them to do. And I talked about how I just felt like as a leader, sometimes you have to tell them
Mm,
what to do in order for them to understand they can actually do it.
yeah,
Give them that push. And I think a lot of times with communication, you really do have to be cognizant of how they're receiving your words.
that's
And
right.
so if they don't have that open mind, then they're getting half of what you're saying anyway. You
That's
know, they're
yes.
literally not listening to you.
Hmm.
And so I've had that happen with clients and past employees that they just didn't want to hear what I was saying. And so I had to, become a storyteller to some extent. I don't think of myself as one, but as you all were talking earlier, I actually had to contemplate, wait, maybe I am, I'm just not a good one yet.
Okay.
Um, but that's part of me being an introvert. I try not to talk because
Mhm.
I'm the one I sat in the back of the class, and I had teachers literally make me sit up front.
Mhm.
So but yeah, you want them to have that open mind to at least listen and hear what you're saying.
That's good. When I think about what you're sharing, Gregory, and thank you so much for joining us again, I feel like you're going to go on a journey from even sharing so openly and vulnerably about how you're perceived as a bully, but that not being your desire. So you want to tap into other parts of you to help people go on the journey with you. So thank you for sharing that. And then today we're talking about a tool, the storytelling tool to get there. And then the next time we meet, we'll talk about another type of tool that you can use to help people get there. So I'm really mapping your journey with us as you're growing and developing as a leader. One thing that came to mind as I was listening to you when you said people stop listening and they turn off. it makes me think about their stress response being activated. So when we feel or perceive, even though you're not a bully, right? But I could perceive you as that. That can activate my threat centers in my brain and nervous system. And when my threat centers are activated, my ears literally tune out and I have tunnel vision and I only focus on something that I feel like will get me to safety. And so that's something that came to mind. And as a leader, it's really important, or I found it to be important and helpful to identify how to activate people's reward centers instead of their threat centers. And so there's more that can be said about that, but just that nugget I'm hoping will help you. So how can we help people feel rewarded through listening to us, through us, our communication versus threatened? And there are ways and skills and tools you can use to get to that place. What do you think of when I share those ideas? What comes to mind for you?
No, yeah, I was sitting here literally thinking of, yeah, I don't want to be considered a threat when you're talking to anyone, especially team members or coworkers or clients, especially those clients that you're coaching. You're trying to bring out the best in them in an area, the best of their organization, of their team, of their leadership abilities, of their communication capabilities. When you're trying to bring out the best of someone, you never want them to fear you, so to speak, to
Right.
not understand that you're there to help,
Mhm.
and not to criticize or point out flaws or whatever. And it's hard, It's I mentioned in the breakout session that it's frustrating at times,
Mhm.
when individuals perceive you to be a bully or perceive you to be trying to come in and take over or tell them what to do. It's just frustrating because that's not at all what you're there for. You're there to help. You're there to guide. Um,
Mhm.
and not even lead them. You really want to follow them on their journey.
Right.
You never want to push someone or lead them, because where you're leading them might not be where they need to be led.
That's right.
And so you try to instill them with the values or the understanding that you're there to help, and I'm going to guide you there. I'm not going to push you or I'm not going to lead you. I'm going to follow you, and when you get to that summit, we'll celebrate together.
Hmm. That's so good. You're making me think of a quote of pressure pushes until purpose pulls. Like, so tapping into people's purpose so that they feel like they're moving along, but not being pushed along, right? So using some type of oppositional force idea to think of what's another energetic I could use that creates movement other than pushing. Maybe pulling could be that. But thank you so much for sharing. There's so much wealth of wisdom in what you're sharing, especially with your vulnerability. So that's the mark of a good storyteller, I'll say. Being vulnerable, being open, and identifying the journey you want to take people on, moving from reluctance to open-mindedness. That's key. What's also key are these 3 points in the framework. So this is just one framework that's NeuroSavvy. There are others, but this is the one we're going to talk about today. To identify the context of what you're describing or the story you're telling, to place people, to anchor people in a place and time. As I think, was it Tom said, or was it, yeah, I think it was Tom, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Was it you, Tom, or was it Gregory who said that? Yes. So that's the context. That's context. So having the ability to describe context is key. And then it could, because it gives people a quick mental picture to provide them with some clarity. It reminds me of like, I used to watch Golden Girls all the time, and there was a character, Sophia, and she would say, before she said anything, picture this, Sicily, 1946. Literally context done. Only in 3 bullets, right? But she put you there and you were about to go on this ride with her, right? So that's context. Those are some ideas of what you can do. And what I'm saying is, well, I'm getting excited, but I want to share that storytelling is something you could do in a few minutes. Like, we don't have to be these long-winded storytellers. That could be something else that makes us feel afraid. Like, do I have to tell this long-winded story? No, but I can hit these three marks within a 1 to 2 minute span and still take people on that same kind of journey. And then we want to identify a conflict. When we do that, our brains pay attention. You're activating the part of our brain that is about to make the decision, should I feel threatened or should I feel rewarded? What you're doing is activating those attentional centers in the brain. When you present some kind of conflict, some type of choice, I could have either done this or that. We can either go this way or that way. We have this opportunity, or it's kind of like it reminds me of those speeches of like generals when they want people to go into battles, like, are you with me? Are we gonna fail or are we gonna conquer? Something like that. Like, give people that type of conflict to activate their attention network. So that's where I would say what Rhonda was saying earlier, you got them locked in. It's like they're locked in. They become locked in with the conflict. You literally, when you, like I said, are activating the threat centers, but in a way that's safe. I'm not trying to make anyone feel afraid here, but our brains are very prehistoric in that way. It's kind of like a switch. You want to do it where their literal eyes are locked with you. Their ears, like I said, they're tuning everything out to lock in on something that's going to direct them to safety. And that's what I'm talking about. So bringing up a conflict will do that. And then a conclusion. It literally gives us a sense of relief. We want to close loops. Brains do not like open loops. So don't leave me on a cliffhanger unless you promise the next time we come together, you're going to update me. That's what soap operas do. The best soap operas. Like, they leave every episode with a cliffhanger and you can't wait to get back to pick right back up. So we got to close the loop. We have to close the loop. So something that I would say aligns with your mission, aligns with your goal. Like, I had you identify what your 2026 goals were. So if that's what you're going to build your story on, think about that. Something that'll lock them in and then have them follow you on the journey. Stories are this three-step framework is memorable, it's repeatable, it's shareable. It helps you to reinforce culture and connection, which we didn't talk much about culture, but there's so much to be said about building a positive team culture and organizational culture on the foundation of great and influential storytelling. So this is why it works especially well at work, particularly if you have very complex, maybe data that you're trying to tell a story about that I was sharing earlier, or very emotional times. Like we said, we're trying to move people through change. This is restructure season. This is layoff season. I mean, it's been a layoff year. We've laid off more people in 2025 than even in the pandemic, which is insane, but it's happening. So we're trying to translate complex times and situations into a three-step framework that can take people along with us, bring people along with us. So that's what it helps to do. It creates a shared understanding across functions, levels. So from like the C-suite to entry level and back. It helps to do that. It's repeatable and it's memorable. Like I said, it taps into those memory centers. You want somebody to leave you and be able to tell the story. That's how culture spreads. That's how we have influential storytelling that works well to get our goals met. Any questions about this framework?
No questions, but I do love the simplicity of it because that's where I get tripped up. The length of the story, because
Yes.
I will ramble, so I get so afraid to tell stories, and so I love that this can help make it more succinct. It's
Yes.
like you said, in 2 minutes, I was like, okay, I can do that.
Yes, you can. Yes, we can. We can do this. We can do this together. So that's the framework. Thank you for co-signing it. I'm going to give you all my story. Let's see if I can do it in 2 minutes or less. Okay. This was a story I actually told from the stage back in, I think, September at an organization, like I said, that has experienced a lot of restructure. They have a new CEO, new mandate. They are being given more autonomy. It's a tech culture, very engineering heavy. They're going through it. They were going through it. So the keynote that I did for them was to ride the waves of change. And I just told my story. When I was in tech, this is 2017. My mom and daughter are pictured here in the picture with me, and we're at the airport. At the time, I was traveling back and forth to Colorado Springs. I was working for a tech company, best job ever, loved it. So straight off of maternity leave, back at work, traveling with my nurse and my baby, right? That was my story. That's the context. So it was an interesting time in the organization because when I left to have the baby, the company culture was one way. But when I got back January 2017, returning from maternity leave, a private equity firm had gotten involved and started to significantly change the culture. And I felt that, but I was riding the wave of change. A conflict happened. So this was January 2017. By April 2017, 3 months later, my almost entire team was laid off. My manager was laid off. His manager was laid off. I was in marketing at the time and senior leadership. CMO gone, head VP gone. And the head VP was the person who brought me into the company. And I was given a choice. I could stay, but in a different position in the product development arm. They wanted me to build the same type of processes and um, strategies that I had built for marketing. I could do that there. There was an opportunity to stay, or I could take a package and leave and take my marketing talents elsewhere. So that's the conflict. I had a choice. I had a new baby. Did I want to go back into the workforce? Not really. I did have some options to follow my boss. It was the kind of manager where I would have followed him anywhere. It's kind of like people bring their people with you when you have that kind of good relationship. That was the opportunity I had at that time, but I did choose to say. The conclusion was I had an opportunity to make my own way. I saw it as an opportunity. If I went to this part of the organization, I felt like I could do work that was meaningful to me. I loved building. I was in my bag, as people say. And I could have some great points for my resume when I was ready to move on. And it really set me up well. I was able to do purposeful work, meaningful work in that part of the organization. And I was able to then contribute to other areas of personal development for me. During that time, I went back to graduate school because I said I want to become a better communicator. It all leads to me to where I am today, sharing these tenets with you, these points with you. And that was a happy conclusion for me. I ended up staying there for 3 more years after that until I left in 2020 during the pandemic to launch this practice. And a lot of the practices that I'm sharing with you, I actually did on the job there, this being one of them, storytelling. So context, conflict, conclusion. And I shared this to a group of people leaders to let them know that they had choices. They could tell a story that could engage the people that they were leading within the organization. And they all had choices. They had autonomy to tap into that so they could ride the waves of change successfully too. Okay, having heard that story, I'm just curious. What did you feel? What were some feelings or some ideas that came up for you just hearing my story?
So, Keyshawn, from me, I'll say I feel encouraged. It is great to hear you share from a place of kind of transparency, like, hey, here's what I experienced. This is where my mindset was, and then concluding with that, having a choice to make and then making that choice. I feel encouraged because it's a story of, hey, here's where I was. And that always blesses me to hear, like, hey, you can navigate through conflict and come out the other side better for it.
Absolutely. That's my whole goal. I want people to feel encouraged. I want them to feel inspired. Oh my God. So I just got chills. That was it. So that's in practice what I want you all to do. Identify how you want people to feel, apply this 3-part framework, and then tell your story. Tell your story. Identify opportunities to do that and see how it connects you, see how it engages the people that you're sharing with, and see what successful results come about. Breakout number 2. It's time for you to try it. So we're going to break out again. I want you to look through the list of story topic ideas that you did in the first breakout. Remember, identify how you want people to feel. And then apply the 3 C's. Give some context, identify a conflict, and then a conclusion. A conclusion. So share that in the breakout, get some feedback from your partner, and then we'll come back and talk about it. I just wanted to just ask, who wants to share from the breakout? What came up for you? Do you have the makings of a story? Can I hear more from you about that? Who wants to share?
Keyshawn, if I can, I'll share briefly. I was in the breakout with Tom and Gregory.
Mhm.
And I briefly shared about being in a new role, as you know,
Yes.
on a small team. And we recently turned on some technology, and my story was really around we received awards for this, which is wonderful. My
Yes.
award, I was telling Tom and Gregory that I was labeled the innovation instigator, which sort
Yes.
of can have a negative connotation to it, right?
Mhm.
And so when you talk about, I think the curiosity there is what's really behind that. What was the intent? But I chose to look at it positively to mean that I'm really doing the work that I'm intended to do, which is disrupting the norm and challenging people's, day to day. And they maybe could have used, it was a word you used, Keyshawn, maybe they could have used the word innovation activator, which
Yes.
would have had the same level of importance and acknowledgement. But
Mhm.
I sort of chose to look at it, embrace it as like, that means I'm doing my job well.
Yes.
If I'm instigating people to receptive to change.
Absolutely. Congratulations for that. And also for reframing. What a powerful reframe. And you being the owner of that narrative. So now that you've been given that, I'm curious what you will now do with that narrative and how you will elevate it, evolve it, even transform it through storytelling. There's an opportunity there. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anything else you want to share from this exercise? How you think you'll apply it? What's been most useful for you?
I think that was great because I mean, we all get feedback here and there, and sometimes the feedback is positive, sometimes it's negative, but you can always, even if you feel that it's a negative, you can use that to improve. So I think we need to embrace the good and the bad, whatever comes our way.
That's good. Agreed. Yes. Own it. It's mine to it's mine to activate and mold and shape. Thinking about, we were talking about neuroplasticity and the molded nature of our brains and nervous systems. Our stories can be that as well. And there's power in that.
Yeah.
There's power in that. Thank you.
Yeah. And
So yes, another comment? My last points for you all today are to refine and practice your story. So you have your list of ideas. It's always good. There was a tip that I listened to a lot of podcasts on storytelling, but other things too. But this one was on storytelling, and the leader who was speaking said, she keeps a spreadsheet of topics. And I keep a notes app in my phone of things like, oh, I think I could tell a story about this. So just through your weeks, your day, your quarters, as you reflect, as you make time to reflect on how things are going for yourself, keep a catalog of story ideas to build on, like a list of topics, and then apply that framework. And as you do, refine and practice it. Practice it, recording yourself um, on voice notes, on video. Practice telling the story, sharpen it. And also pre-order my book. It's going to be all about that. There will be other exercises, practices, examples of stories there, just like what we experienced today. And of course, there are opportunities for me to come into your organization and share this, as there are opportunities for Rhonda to do too. Like I said, make it actionable. Like I literally told the story I told you all today as a keynote address. So that story was shared in real time with real leaders that made a difference. And so do that yourselves. Do it over and over again. You'll get better and better with time. And up next, join us on what is it, the first Tuesday of
February.
every 2 months? Yes, February 3rd,
My
2026.
birthday too, so you all
Oh my God.
the gift is
Yes.
you guys being present for my birthday.
What are we going to be talking about, or what are you going to be talking about at that
We will
time?
be talking about the coaching advantage, embedding growth conversations into your leadership DNA. Because how many of you know that we have to be intentional about having the growth conversations? What I've noticed in the industry is a lot of leaders do not have those conversations, and I don't necessarily think that it's not conversations that they don't want to have. But then you have your employee thinking, I don't know if they want me to grow because you're not opening the door to that type of conversation. And so let's start talking about the growth conversations, even if it means you propelling one of your employees into another department, because people, they want growth and they want development, but they're afraid most times to approach their leader, and we have to open the door as leaders. Even if it's propelling them to another organization, you'll be able to find someone else to replace them, but don't hold them back and don't make them feel like they have to be afraid to come to you to talk about growth. And so it's just learning how to have those conversations where it's non-threatening for everybody. So I'm excited about it. I'm gonna drop these I think
I just put it in there. Yes, I did it for you. That's the registration to register for that conversation, February 3rd. Gregory, this is what I was thinking about, the journey that you're on from the perception of bullying and pushing to now learning how to tell better stories that connect and engage, and then learning ways to coach people through growth. That's what's coming up next. So I just love the idea of mapping your journey to these free sessions that we make available. We do this because we love it. We love leadership development. We talk about this with each other.
all the time.
So we are just so passionate about it. We came together to provide this as a service to community of leaders that you all are. So please continue to join us. We're so thankful for your participation, and yeah, thank you. Thank you
You
for being
guys
here.
make time. And give Keyshawn some love in the chat. I don't know, an emoji or something, because she did such an amazing job.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, 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 yes.
I
We
think you're
love it.
right. I so appreciate you all. You'll receive the recording. I'll send an email and can't wait to see you again in February. Happy holidays, all the things. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, all the
All of
things.
it. Oh, we will see you all next.
Hanukkah.
Yes, all of it. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Yes, because we want to see you for that. So enjoy that, and we'll come right back here right before Valentine's Day to talk about the coaching advantage.
On my birthday, so it's gonna be a party.
Yes, another holiday. Yes. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.